Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to crack open a 500-year-old Korean poem. Now, it might look like something locked away in a museum, but trust me, the story it tells about loneliness and loss, it's just as real today as it was half a millennium ago. So this is the poem, The Night of August 15th, by a poet named Haeng. And yeah, I see it. All those characters, they're called hanja, by the way. They can look a little intense, right? But just hang in there. By the time we're done, you're not just going to understand what these words mean, you're going to feel it. I promise. Okay, let's dive in.
All right, verse 1, faded friendships. I mean, right from the get-go, this poem doesn't pull any punches. It just throws you right into this feeling of incredible loss and loneliness. Let's take a look at how he does it.
Okay, so here's the first line. We're going to go through this character by character. And what's really important here are the Korean readings of these characters. That's the key to unlocking the poem's real flavor. This line right here, this is the bedrock of all the sadness in the poem. Okay, check this out. This is where you can really see the genius at work. We've got two characters here. The first one, Jo. That means to wither. The second one, Ryong. That means to fall or to drop. Simple enough on their own, right? But when you put them together, that's where the magic happens. When you combine them, you get the word Jollyeong. And I want you to just picture this for a second. Think about the last leaves on a tree in the dead of autumn. They're all dried up, withered, and they just fall. That is the image the poet is using for his friends. See, it's not just that they're gone. It's like they've been violently ripped away. So putting it all together, when the poet says Jollyeong, he's doing so much more than just saying, my friends are gone. He's painting this absolutely gut-wrenching picture of them being torn from his life, like leaves in a freezing, bitter wind. It's an incredibly powerful image. And if you thought that was lonely, wait till you see the next line. It really doubles down on this feeling, showing us exactly who or what the poet has left. So let's break this one down. We've got three main characters to look at. First up is Yeong. This means form or shape, basically his own body. Then you have Yeong, which means shadow. And that little character in the middle, Ya, it's just a connector. It works pretty much exactly like the word and or with in English. So what's he telling us? After all his friends have withered and fallen away, the only things left to keep him company are his own aging body and his shadow. That's it. Talk about lonely. Okay, let's get into this second half. If that first part was all about this quiet, simmering sadness, well, this next verse is where everything just explodes. The sorrow builds to this peak that's almost too much to handle. Now, this next line is interesting because at first glance, it paints a really beautiful picture, something almost festive. I mean, listen to this, a bright moon over a high pavilion. This is classic scenery for a celebration, especially on the night of the Harvest Moon Festival. But here's the twist. All that beauty, all that grandeur, it actually just makes him feel even smaller, even more alone. And right in the middle of all this lonely splendor, a sound suddenly cuts through the silence. And this is what pushes the poem to its emotional breaking point. All right, let's look at these two characters because they are absolutely key. You have Cho, which means something like desolate or wrenching, and then Dan, which means to cut or to break. So the poet is smashing these two ideas together to describe a kind of sadness that isn't just a feeling, it's a physical pain. It's like being stabbed in the heart. And that gives us the word Cheo-dan. It describes a sorrow that's so sharp, so desolate, it feels like it is literally tearing you apart from the inside out. This right here, this is the absolute emotional heart of the entire poem. So, that distant flute music? For him, it's not beautiful. It becomes the sound of his own grief, a sound so heartbreaking, so chiodan, that he just can't stand to listen to it. So you have to ask, right? Why was this poet feeling so incredibly hopeless? Well, this wasn't just some poetic exaggeration. No, this was real. His pain came from a life filled with political chaos and devastating personal loss. See, Haeng lived through these incredibly violent political purges. They were called sahwa. And for him, these weren't just headlines. These were deeply personal tragedies. He literally watched his best friends and his closest allies get betrayed, thrown into exile, or even killed. So when you read this poem, you have to understand it's not just pretty words. It's a raw cry of pain from a man who had lost, well, pretty much everyone. And we know this isn't just a modern interpretation. A famous scholar from that era, Hyeong-yeo-yeong, actually pointed to those first two lines we looked at, and he said they perfectly captured the real-life trauma Yang felt as his entire world, both social and political, just completely fell apart.
So why has this poem stuck around for 500 years? What gives it so much power? A huge part of it is this brilliant contrast he sets up between the world outside and the world inside his own head. Think about it. On one hand, you've got this beautiful, festive night. The harvest moon is bright. People should be celebrating. But on the other hand, you've got his inner world, a loneliness so profound, so absolute, that a beautiful melody feels like a physical assault. It's an amazing contrast.
And when you take a step back, what's the bigger picture here? The poem is really a powerful warning, isn't it? It's about the deep, soul-crushing emptiness that can come after a life spent chasing power and status. And maybe it's a reminder to value something simpler, like peace and quiet contentment.
Which, of course, leads us with one final question to chew on. In our world today, where we're all hyper-connected, 24/7, what can we possibly learn from a man from 500 years ago whose only friends in the end were his own body and his shadow?